Dear students, in this lecture, we are going to cover the history of Mysore and also the history of British conquest of Mysore. So, what do we mean by British conquest of Mysore? So, as you already know, that the Britishers had come to India in the disguise of a trader, and eventually, by using military and diplomatic skills, they became the rulers, or you can say the masters of Indian territories. So they ruled almost over the entire country, but it was not that in a single attack they managed to capture the country. It was like that, slowly and gradually they were capturing one to the other part of the country. First they captured Bengal, then they captured, let's say, Bihar, Odisha. So slowly and gradually they were capturing parts of the country. So in this sequence, Mysore was also on the target of the Britishers. So it is the story of how did Mysore fell in the hands of the Britishers, that means from the native Indian rulers. How did Mysore shift or go into the hands of the British? So that is known as British conquest of Mysore. So during this conquest, some four battles were fought between the kingdom of Mysore and the British. So these wars are today known as Anglo-Mysore Wars. Anglo means British, Mysore as in Mysore kingdom. So let us see this time period or the history of this time period in great detail. So how was or what were the political conditions of Mysore on the eve of British conquest? So before you begin, look at this map carefully. Let's try to understand the significance of this map carefully. Then for the rest of the lecture, it will be easy on your mind. Here this is Goa. This is Mysore. Actually, this entire thing was Mysore. These parts have been broken because slowly, gradually, these parts were captured by Britishers. But as a whole, this is what Mysore's map was. Look here, this is Travancore. This is territory of Nizam of Hyderabad. So I am talking about the neighbors of Mysore. Who were the neighbors of Mysore? So the biggest neighbor was the Nizam of Hyderabad, and they were also fighting the British forces. They also did not want Britishers to take over India. Who would? Now these are the territories of the Peshwas. Peshwas means Maratha rulers. Boundary, that means they were also neighbors. Look at this side. Here is Madras. So Madras was totally under British control. So when this story begins, at that time, or you can say in the mid 18th century, this area, Madras presidency, was totally under British control. Now this is Travancore. Now Travancore, Mysore was trying to capture Travancore. So this was the political scenario more or less. Now let's understand how their relations were. Marathas. Marathas and Nizam, they were also neighbors if you look at the map carefully. So they both have formed an alliance. They have formed an alliance and they have made an alliance that we will expand further into South India. That means we will dismantle this Mysore kingdom and we will divide it. So this was their planning, that from where has this Mysore kingdom propped up? So let's make an alliance. Let's go further down to south, and going further down south would means what? Destroying kingdom of Mysore and dividing it between themselves. Here is Mahe. Now this territory was completely under French control. French. Just like Madras was totally under British control, on this coast, eastern coast, on the western coast, or the Malabar coast, French were controlling the territory of Mahe. Now look carefully, this territory of Mahe is located within the territory of Mysore. What does this mean? It means Mysore and French, they were good friends. They were not fighting. They were good friends. French did not fight with the Mysore. This was the political situation. Now there is one more thing mentioned on the map, that is northern Sarkars. So if you look in today's map, it will correspond to the coastal regions of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Odisha. So this name was given by the Britishers. This Sarkar does not mean government, just northern Sarkars. This was just the name given. This was not under the control of Britishers. Britishers' power was limited to Madras and to parts of Mumbai. This was the British present. This was Britishers were looking to take control of this region, but this region was actually under the control of Nizam. Nizam was controlling this region, but Britishers wanted to control this. Why? Because if you have to go to Bengal by land, you would like to have this territory under your control. You are in Madras, you have to go to Bengal. Either you go by sea, or you have to be the master of this territory to cross or take your goods from this side. So this was more or less political situation. So everybody was looking to defeat everyone else except two good friends. Two good friends who never betrayed each other, Marathas and Nizams. Apart from these two, everybody else was looking to defeat everyone else. Mysore was looking to defeat Hyderabad. Mysore was looking to defeat Marathas. Mysore was looking to defeat British. But these two were at peace, Nizam and Marathas. So now let's begin our story. So Mysore was ruled by Krishna Raja Wodeyar at the time when the British were looking for expanding into the region after winning at Battle of Plassey. So Battle of Plassey had occurred or taken place in 1757, where in Bengal, Plassey is in Bengal. So after winning that battle, the British understood that if we fight a few more battles, we may take control of the entire country. If we can win Plassey, why can't we win Mysore? Why can't we win Hyderabad? Why can't we win Pondicherry? Fine. So now they were looking for more and more battles. Why? Because if you defeat somebody in the battle, you can take their territory, you can make that territory your own. So when all these things were happening, Mysore was ruled by a ruler known as Krishna Raja Wodeyar. Wodeyar was the dynasty. Krishna Raja was his name. So Krishna Raja Wodeyar. The Wodeyar dynasty was pretty old one. It was established in 1612. So they have been in existence for almost 150-155 years when this trouble started taking place. The Wodeyars of Mysore shared boundaries with the Marathas and the Nizam of Hyderabad. So as I already made it very clear through the map, this is the boundary with the Marathas, and this is the large or very lengthy boundary with the Hyderabad. So neighbors often fight. If you have neighbors, you would have experienced that neighbors do fight, natural. Mysore was under constant attack by the Marathas and the Nizam of Hyderabad. So as I already explained to you, they were wanting to expand towards south. Expanding towards south was not possible unless they defeated Mysore kingdom. So Mysore had become politically and financially weak. Why? Because it was constantly attacked. Sometimes Marathas used to attack, sometimes Nizam used to attack. So Mysore had become politically and financially weak, and the citizens were looking for someone capable to overthrow the weak Wodeyar rulers, because this Raja Krishna Raja belonged to a dynasty known as Wodeyar, who have been ruling for almost 150 years till then. So citizens of Mysore wanted to overthrow the Wodeyar dynasty. So under these circumstances, a military general known as Hyder Ali overtook the control of Mysore. How? Who was Hyder Ali? So Hyder Ali was the military general under King Krishna Raja Wodeyar. And Krishna Raja Wodeyar was very unpopular because people wanted him to be removed. He could not defend Mysore against the Marathas and Nizam of Hyderabad. So Hyder Ali was even more popular than the king himself. So Hyder Ali, the brave and popular, he was popular. Popular word is very important. People liked him. So Hyder Ali, the brave and popular military chief of King Krishna Raja, took advantage of his popularity because he was very popular and became the de facto ruler of Mysore in 1761. De facto. De facto means what? You don't declare, but in reality, that is the fact that you are the ruler. That means you do not kill the king, or you do not remove him from his throne. You simply allow him to sit there so that public does not revolt against you. Public does not accuse you of revolting against your own king. So let the king be there, but take the entire administrative control in your own hand. So that is known as de facto ruler. So Hyder Ali became the de facto ruler, and Krishna Raja was a mere puppet. He was reduced to a mere puppet, and actually Hyder Ali was taking all the decisions a king should be. So Hyder Ali started conducting courts. Conducting courts means what? You sit on a throne, you hear problems of your officers and problems of common citizens. That means he started behaving like the ruler of Mysore. Hyder Ali was now the Nawab of Mysore, and the real king was merely a puppet. Now, what is this Nawab thing? So, you see, earlier kings used to appoint somebody. If you are a military general, that means you can also be removed from your position. Somebody else will become the military general. But in case of Nawab, so once you are Nawab, that means now nobody is going to interfere in your life. If you are dead, your son will become the next Nawab, or whosoever you choose. That means nobody else is controlling you. You are the Nawab, and your position becomes hereditary. That means after you are dead, your son only will become the next Nawab. Nobody else is going to appoint anyone else. So it becomes hereditary. So from a simple military general, he is now declaring himself as the Nawab of Mysore. So he's taken over the control of Mysore. Now, Hyderabad and Marathas, that means Nizam of Hyderabad and Maratha, are they sitting silent? No, they are not sitting silent. They have forged an alliance. So during those times, Marathas and the Nizam of Hyderabad had forged an alliance, and both took similar political decisions in choosing friends and enemies. What does this mean? It means that Marathas and Nizam of Hyderabad, they used to consult each other. That before forging an alliance with somebody. For example, if British offered Maratha to become the friend, they would first consult the Nizam of Hyderabad that I am going to become friends with British. Would you also be becoming? If Nizam says no, Britishers are not good, Marathas would also say okay. So they were very good allies of Nizam of Hyderabad. Now both these allies, that means the Marathas and the Nizam of Hyderabad, for them, Mysore and Britishers both were enemies. Both were enemies at the starting. Mysore, I already explained why. Britishers, you can understand why. Because they were fighting battles with local rulers. So Nizam and Marathas also understood that sooner or later they are going to come after us as well. So both Mysore and Britishers were enemies of Marathas and Nizam. You understand this first. So this joint alliance was determined to keep the British power under control. Which joint alliance? Alliance of Hyderabad and Marathas. They also wanted to invade Mysore and divide it between them. We have already discussed this. But something else happened. So weak Nizam had to give into the British demands. Though they had plans to control or restrict the British, they thought that we will manage to defeat the British, but that was not the reality. The British were powerful. They had already won big battles such as Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar. So what were these small kingdoms before them? So gradually, the weak Nizam of Hyderabad have to give in to the British demands. Nizam had surrendered 4 out of 5 provinces of Carnatic. So as I already showed you in the map, Carnatic Sarkar. So this is the Bay of Bengal. This is the Carnatic Sarkar. So 4 out of 5 Sarkars was given to the Britishers as peace settlements. That means this entire kingdom of Carnatic was divided into 5 provinces. Out of 5, 4 was given to the British as a peace agreement. They told Britishers, don't attack Hyderabad, just take Karnataka. We don't need Karnataka, you take it. So as a peace settlement and also in exchange for military support. So in return, British promised the Nizam that in case somebody attacks you, you can use our forces. And we promise that we are never going to attack you. So that way, Nizam got the support and the military support of British. And British got the access to Bengal because this Carnatic, here is Madras, here is Bengal. And this region was Carnatic region. So now this Carnatic region is captured by British. So Bengal to Madras, the movement becomes very, very easy. So while all this was happening, Hyder Ali of Mysore, that means Hyder Ali had already taken the control of Mysore. So he was also interested in forming an alliance with the British. He thought that if others are doing it, that why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I form an alliance with the British? Because till then the British were not his enemies. But under the influence of the Nizam of Hyderabad, the Britishers did not agree to form an alliance with Hyder Ali. Because Nizams, they were bigger than Hyder Ali, and also they controlled more important areas. So they were more valuable to the Britishers as compared to the Mysore kingdom. So because of all these political conditions, the stage was set that who is going to fight whom and who has become friends with whom. So you have already understood that Nizam and Britishers have come together. Nizam and Marathas are best friends. But Mysore has no friends. Nobody is ready to become friend with Mysore. Not Britishers, not Nizam, not Marathas. So the stage is set. It is clear that fight is going to take place. And 4 such fights took place. So today these are known as 4 Anglo-Mysore wars. The Anglo-Mysore wars were a series of wars fought during 1767 to 1799. That means almost for a period of 30 years they kept fighting between the Kingdom of Mysore and the British East India Company. So when we say Mysore was fighting the British, so basically the British unit of Madras Presidency, that means British were spread in the entire country, but Mysore was not fighting with all the Britishers present in India. So basically the fight was led by the Madras unit, Madras Presidency unit of British administration. The Nizam Asaf Zah of Hyderabad, remember who was the Nizam at that time? His name was Asaf Zah of Hyderabad, and the Marathas were 2 other key players. But these 2 powers kept switching sides throughout the course of 4 Anglo-Maratha wars. So as I already told you that Marathas and the Nizam, they were close friends. They used to take decisions together. And I also told you that four wars took place. So these 2 partners, they had 2 choices. British was fighting against Mysore. 4 wars were fought. So sometimes these both used to support British. In the next war, they used to support Mysore. Again, they used to change sides. So they kept changing sides throughout the course of 4 Anglo-Mysore wars. Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan fought 4 wars with the British in quick succession. So there are 4 Anglo-Mysore wars. So Hyder Ali was the real master of Mysore, Wodeyars were just puppet. So after Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan, that means his son Tipu Sultan, continued the fight. That means in the four wars we are discussing, Hyder Ali as well as his son Tipu Sultan were involved. Hyder died midway between the second war. There are four wars. So, first war, second war, third war, fourth war. First war was fought by Hyder Ali. Second war was fought by Hyder Ali, but he died midway. So, second war was continued by his son Tipu Sultan. Third and fourth war was fought by Tipu Sultan because Hyder Ali is already dead. So Hyder and Tipu were involved in four Mughal wars. It does not mean that Tipu was not helping his father. So Tipu was present in all the four wars, but first two were majorly fought by Hyder Ali, last two wars majorly fought by Tipu Sultan. The fourth war resulted in the end of Hyder Tipu dynasty. That means this father son who had created a dynasty by making the Wodeyars as puppets. So that came to an end by the defeat in the fourth war, because in the fourth war you will see Tipu Sultan died. So now let us see the events, or what are the major course of history that took place during these four wars. So we will study one war at a time. Remember, there have been four Anglo-Mysore wars. So we will discuss one war at a time. So what was the first Anglo-Mysore war? So first Anglo-Mysore war lasted for 2 years. It did not mean that for continuously 2 years people were fighting with each other. No, small scale battles spread over a time period of 2 years. So that is what a battle is, or a war is. So the first Anglo-Mysore war began in January 1767 when the Marathas invaded Mysore. So Marathas had wanted to capture Mysore, so they invade Mysore. What happens next? Hyder Ali paid the Marathas a large sum to turn them back. So Hyder Ali told the Marathas that please do not invade my kingdom. You take cash. I am paying you in cash. Just go back to your country. Go back to your Maratha kingdom. Please leave Mysore alone. So Marathas agreed. So what Marathas do, the Nizam will also do. They are best friends. They take same kind of decision. So when Marathas received money from Hyder Ali, the Nizam thought that now I will also do the same. So Nizam also entered Mysore, tried to enter Mysore. Hyder Ali offered him huge sum, huge money. He did the same with the Marathas. Now you can say in a way he is giving them bribe. So now he is giving money to Nizam, and this way Nizam is also agreeing that okay, you pay me money, I will not attack you. So this way both Marathas and Nizam and Hyder Ali have made a peace settlement. If you think properly, this can be said to be a peace arrangement. And all these three started attacking the British settlements. So till now British were not in picture. In first Anglo-Mysore war, it was not the British who are responsible for the first Anglo-Mysore war. Just understand the tendency. Now they start attacking the British settlement because they think that now we three have come together. Now we can easily defeat the British. So they start attacking British settlement. After fighting small scale indecisive battles for about 1.5 years, Hyder Ali changed his strategy and appeared at the gates of Madras when he was least expected. Now you see, small scale battles have started, but there was no proper outcome. Nobody can say who was winning, who was losing. It was indecisive, small scale. Sometimes Britishers used to win, sometimes these Indian rulers used to win. So Hyder Ali thought of a new strategy. He thought that let me do something which is unpredictable. So when Britishers were getting information that Hyder Ali is in Mysore, but he was not actually in Mysore, he was moving towards Madras. And one morning, all of a sudden, I mean, it was not even morning, it was early dawn when everybody was sleeping. So he appeared at the gates of Madras. Why at Madras? Because the Britishers that he was fighting with, they were stationed at Madras. Madras was the biggest settlement near Mysore. So he appeared at Madras when he was least expected. So this is Hyder Ali. He has appeared at the gates of Madras. The English people, they were stunned. They had not expected that Hyder Ali will come with his forces with at Madras. So all your top officers are living at Madras. All your soldiers are busy fighting in Mysore. All of a sudden, Hyder Ali comes and surrounds Madras. So all top officers are here, but the forces are not present at Madras. So what will officers do? So officers surrender. So officers surrender and they were forced to sign the Treaty of Madras. Why it is known as Treaty of Madras? Because all this was happening at the gate of Madras. Because at Madras, Britishers have formed a fort, their settlement. So, according to the terms of this treaty, they returned each other's captured territories because war was going on for last 2 years. So, they had captured small scale territories of each other. So, now they say that now we have to sign peace treaty. So, let's return each other's land. Whatever we have captured from each other, let's return it. Let's get back to peace. And the British made the same promise they have made to Nizam. So now British promised Hyder Ali that in case he was attacked by his enemies, the Britishers would lend him military support. So because Britishers have established themselves as a military power, so everybody wanted to get help from the Britishers. So Britishers told Hyder Ali that after today, if you ever fall in trouble or if you need our military help, we are ready to provide that. So this is how first Anglo-Mysore war ended. How did it end? You can say Hyder Ali won. Hyder Ali won. Why did he win? Because he forced the Britishers to sign the treaty. Britishers did not approach him for peace. He forced them. So first Anglo-Mysore war was won by Hyder Ali. Now let's talk about the second Anglo-Mysore war. Now we just saw that first war ended with signing of Treaty of Madras, and as per that treaty the British had promised Hyder Ali that whenever you will need military support we will provide you with. But the Britishers are known to break their promises. I mean British East India Company was famous for breaking promises made by it. So they did the same in this case. Though they have promised they are going to help Hyder Ali, they are going to help Mysore, but they did not do so when Marathas entered Mysore, because you see Marathas were not friends of Mysore. They had remained silent because they were given money. Now they wanted money again. So they again enter into Mysore, because even before Hyder Ali, when Wodeyars were ruling, even then this was the behavior of Peshwas, that whenever they wanted they used to attack Mysore. So again they attack Mysore, but this time Hyder Ali thought that British are going to help me, but British did nothing to help him. So this was a betrayal of trust, breach of trust. Which trust? Trust which was, because of which the Treaty of Madras was signed. Now Hyder Ali asked the French officers of the neighboring Mahe city for help. Here is Mahe. It is totally under French control. French military officers, French ships, guns, everything is present here. Let me tell you something. Even the army of Mysore used to visit Mahe for military training, and the military officers of French administration used to come to parts of Mysore, and they used to impart military training. So that means they were very good friends with the kingdom of Mysore. So Hyder Ali asked French for help. They said that if British will not help me, then let me ask the Britishers. So Warren Hastings, the Governor General of Bengal, was extremely suspicious of Hyder Ali's relation with the French, because You see, French and British, they were rivals. Both were looking to remove the other from the Indian soil. So they were enemies. Here is Madras, totally controlled by British. Here is Mahe, totally controlled by French. Here is Mysore in between them. So now Mysore is taking help from French. So British did not like this. So what do? They attack on the orders of Warren Hastings. Warren Hastings, the biggest officer of British India. Why? Because he was the Governor General of Bengal. So that time it was the biggest post. You can say he was the Prime Minister of British administration. So on his order, the British captured Mahe in 1779. So this event led to the start of Second Anglo-Mysore War, because Hyder Ali said that who are you to enter my territory and attack Mahe? They did so by entering Mysore. So this event started the Second Anglo-Mysore War, and more so, Hyder Ali considered the French people as his friend. So he said that why did you attack and kill my friend? So this resulted in Second Anglo-Mysore War. So British attacked the French city of Mahe in 79. The next year, that means in 1780, the war begins. So the Second Anglo-Mysore War began in July 1780 when Hyder Ali sent his son Tipu to attack the Carnatic. So as I already told you that Carnatic was a strip of land between Madras and Kolkata, which was given by the Nizam to the Britishers. So not much military presence of British was here. That means British did not feel it necessary to guard this properly. So this was not guarded properly. So Hyder Ali sent Tipu to attack and capture Carnatic. Why? Because if Carnatic is captured, the connection between Kolkata and Madras will be cut off. Tipu easily defeated Colonel Bailey. Remember this name. The second battle, Second Anglo-Mysore War. The first major battle was fought between Tipu and Colonel Bailey, and Tipu wins and took thousands of British prisoners. The overall command of Madras was with Colonel Hector Munro. So Hector Munro was a very experienced military commander. He had won the Battle of Buxar in 1764, Battle of Buxar. So he was a very renowned military general. So at that time he was the in charge of Madras. So Colonel Hector Munro sent another military commander whose name was Sir Eyre Coote to fight against Hyder Ali at Porto Novo. Porto Novo means new port in Portuguese. This is a Portuguese term that means new port. Novo, new. Porto means port, which is basically the Cuddalore district of Tamil Nadu. In today's map, it is, the location is Cuddalore. So Eyre Coote was sent to fight Hyder Ali, whereas Hyder Ali's son Tipu Sultan was already busy in fighting in Carnatic. See, Carnatic and Karnataka are not same. Never think that Carnatic is equal to Karnataka. I already told you that Carnatic was a strip of land between Madras and Kolkata. It also contains some parts of today's Karnataka, but they are not the same. So Eyre Coote, what he did, because he was sent to defeat Hyder Ali, so he knew that Hyder Ali is paying money to the Nizam of Hyderabad and Marathas. So this time Eyre Coote, started diplomatic talks with the Nizam and Maratha, and he told them not to help Hyder Ali. So both these agreed. They were not friends of Hyder Ali. So they said that why should we, come to his rescue? Because if we go to help Hyder Ali, the British will come against us as well. So this time Eyre Coote isolated Hyder Ali. So now Nizam will not help him, Maratha will not help him. So Britishers told Hyder Ali, now let's fight. Now nobody is going to help you. So Hyder was defeated at Porto Novo. Porto Novo means Cuddalore, Tamil Nadu in 1781. In 1782, Hyder Ali died due to cancer, leaving the task unfinished for his son Tipu. So when Hyder Ali died, the battle was still going on. Anglo-Mysore War was still going on. It was not decided who won, who lost. So when Hyder died, Tipu was in Carnatic. So the news of his death was hidden for months, because if the news reached the Britishers, they could have easily taken over Mysore. So they waited till Tipu Sultan came back to Mysore. So Tipu Sultan came back to Mysore in 1782 because he got the news that his father has died, and he became the new Nawab because his father is dead. So now it is Tipu Sultan who will continue the battle. But Tipu Sultan thought that let's put all this to rest. I have become a new Nawab. So my first job is to rule my kingdom. My first job is not to fight. If I will keep on fighting always, then who will take care of Mysore? So keeping all this in mind, he approached the Britishers to end the war by signing the Treaty of Mangalore, Karnataka. So Treaty of Mangalore was signed between whom? Between the British and Tipu Sultan. So when was Treaty of Mangalore signed? At the end of Second Carnatic War, or you can say this brought Second Anglo-Mysore War was brought to an end by signing of this treaty. So on the basis of mutual restitution of each other's territory, that means again after signing this treaty, they agreed that whatever we have won from you, or whatever land I have snatched from you, I am going into return back to you. That means they both returned each other's territory. So who won the second Anglo-Mysore War? Nobody won. Who won the first Anglo-Mysore War? Clearly Hyder Ali won. So this is the story so far. So let's proceed further. So now Tipu Sultan has become the Nawab. Second war is over. So now he thought, now I am not going to fight any more battle. Let me rule properly. So now let us see how his rule was, or what kind of a king Tipu Sultan was. So Tipu Sultan is known as the Tiger of Mysore. You know the reason, because he fought the British forces. And you also know he was the son of Sultan Hyder Ali. Tipu was born at Devanhalli near Bangalore in 1750. You need not remember all this. Just remember he was born at Devanhalli. As a 17-year-old, he fought in the first Anglo-Mysore War. That means first Anglo-Mysore War, which was headed by his father. So at that time he was only 17 years old, but still he participated in the battle. So as we already saw that Hyder died while the second Anglo-Mysore was on, and Tipu became the next Nawab in 1782. Now, the major difference between Tipu Sultan and his father was that his father always recognized the authority of Wodeyar kings, because he has snatched power from Wodeyar kings. But Tipu Sultan said that I don't know who Wodeyar kings are. I do not consider them as my king. I am the master of Mysore. I am the only master of Mysore, and I am an independent sultan. That means I am not working under authority of Wodeyar rulers. So he declared himself as an independent sultan, unlike his father. So his father had always recognized the authority of Wodeyar kings, but now Tipu Sultan says that no, I am the sole authority. I am the only authority. Now Tipu introduced a number of administrative innovations, including his coinage and a new land revenue system, which initiated the growth of Mysore silk industry. That means he started minting his own coin, and he started new land revenue system. Now the most important fact you have to remember about Tipu Sultan is he is considered to be the pioneer. That means the first person who introduced rocket on Indian soil. So Tipu Sultan was already in contact with the French people. So French people knew how to make rockets. So they passed this knowledge on to Tipu Sultan, and he gave rocket making the structure of an industry, because he understood that rockets can be used to fight battle. Rockets are not always used to, used in Diwali only for patakas. So rockets can also be used to fight battles. So he started using them as a weapon. So he is considered a pioneer in the use of rocket artillery. Artillery means what? Used to fight. So Tipu Sultan deployed the rockets against advance of British forces and their allies in 1792 and 1799 siege of Srirangapatna. Srirangapatna was actually the capital of Mysore. So he is known to have used rockets. So very common questions you will find have been asked many a times, that which Indian ruler is considered to be the pioneer, or you can say is said to be the rocket scientist of modern India, Indian ruler. So he is known as, his name is Tipu Sultan. Now another major fact is when Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan were ruling over Mysore, during that time the Europeans and the Britishers were fighting a large scale war in Europe. It has got nothing to do with India. They were fighting in Europe, but they were also present in India, and both of them wanted control of India. So the same rivalry of Europe also continued in India. So Napoleon, who was the commander of French forces in Europe, he had sent a message to Tipu Sultan that let Mysore and France come together, forge an alliance, and let's defeat the Britishers. So you have to remember that Napoleon and Tipu Sultan, they used to exchange messages. So Tipu and his father used to train their army under the guidance of French commanders. We have already seen this. Now look at this toy. You will learn about the mentality of Tipu Sultan. So Tipu Sultan used to call himself as Tiger. So this is the toy which Tipu Sultan used to keep in his room. Now today this toy is present in British Museum of London. Here is a British soldier. Now this toy is driven by battery. So when this button is pressed, this lion opens his mouth and he tries to eat this soldier. So this shows the hatred of Tipu Sultan towards the Britishers. It also shows how advanced technology. He was in touch with advanced technology. Battery, he was using battery during those times. Just understand. So none of the Indian rulers were familiar of all these kind of scientific equipments. So anyways, now you have seen that Tipu Sultan has become the Nawab. Two Anglo-Mysore's war have already been fought. Now he is ruling peacefully. So let us see what happened, what went wrong that two more wars were fought. So let us see why the third Anglo-Mysore war was fought. Now look here. This is Mysore. Here is the kingdom of Travancore. So it shares boundary with Mysore. And if you look properly, there is nobody to help Travancore. Travancore has no neighbors. Its only worthy, powerful neighbor is Mysore. So Mysore can easily capture Travancore. Nobody will come to help Travancore. Here is Madras. Here are Marathas. Here are Nizam. So in 1719, Tipu Sultan made an attempt to capture Travancore. Tipu Sultan came into conflict with the king of Travancore over the issue of possession of Kannur district of Cochin kingdom. So here is Kannur. So this Travancore people, they have tried to hand over Kannur to the British people. So this Tipu Sultan thought that Kannur is my property. Who are you to give Kannur to the Britishers? And that's why he invaded Travancore. The British obviously sided with the Travancore kingdom. They needed an excuse to fight with Mysore. So this time the British sided with the Travancore kingdom. Nizam of Hyderabad and the Marathas were together with the British. So they have already changed sides. In second Mysore war itself, they have changed sides. So this time also they were with the British side. Now the British forces sent by Lord Cornwallis. Who was Cornwallis? Governor General of Bengal. So as I already told you, the Governor General of Bengal was taking all the decisions on behalf of Madras, Mumbai. So basically, you can say whosoever was the governor of Bengal was known as Governor General. That means, apart from taking making decisions for Bengal, he was the person who was making decisions from Madras and Mumbai as well. So Lord Cornwallis got involved. He said that enough is enough. Now let's try to capture Mysore. So he sent his forces and they started capturing big cities. So Coimbatore was captured, and now they reached the capital city, capital of Sri Rangapatnam. That means this time there was a big, large scale attack. Now they have started capturing big cities, and Tipu could not defeat the British. So Tipu offered tough resistance but eventually signed the Treaty of Srirangapatnam because Srirangapatnam is his capital city. The British have reached Srirangapatnam. They would have entered into Srirangapatnam. So Tipu was helpless. So he thought that let me end the war, let me sign the peace treaty. So this time Tipu gets defeated. So treaty was signed in March 1792. So as per the terms of the treaty, half of Mysore was now taken over by British. So all these territories were captured by the British. The Nizam of Hyderabad and Marathas were also given large territories as reward for their loyalty. So these two neighbors of Mysore who had supported the British, so they also got their share. Some parts of Mysore kingdom was given to them, and half of the kingdom was kept by the Britishers. Now Tipu Sultan was humiliated very much after the defeat in Third War. So Tipu had to pay a war penalty of 3 crore rupees. Just understand, a small kingdom has to pay 3 crore rupees at that time. And his two sons were taken hostage to ensure that in future Tipu does not attack the British. So apart from extracting the war penalty, two of his sons were also kept in captivity at Madras, not in prison but just under the watch of the British officers, so that the father Tipu Sultan does not attack the British, because his sons are kept captured here. Now this is what happened, or this is, you can say, how the third Anglo-Mysore war ended. Now let us see, if three wars have already taken place, then why did the fourth war take place? So let us see. So Tipu fulfilled all the treaties, all the terms of the Treaty of Srirangapatnam. So Srirangapatnam treaty was signed in 1792 after Tipu was defeated in third war. Now we are talking about the fourth war. So he gave all the money that was promised in the treaty, and his sons were released. So when his sons were released, so Tipu Sultan was no more afraid of attacking the British, because the life of his sons were no more in danger. So he started his aggressive approach towards the British again. So in 1796, when the Hindu ruler of Wodeyar dynasty died, Tipu refused to place the Wodeyar's minor son on the throne and declare himself Sultan. So as I already told you that Hyder Ali used to at least recognize them as kings. But Tipu Sultan completely disagreed to consider them king anymore. So this gave an opportunity to the British to intervene. So in 1798, Lord Wellesley succeeded Sir John Shore as the new Governor General of Bengal. So all these decisions were coming from Bengal, that who is going to fight whom in Mysore. So Wellesley was concerned about Tipu's growing friendship with the British. So this Lord Wellesley, who was the Governor General, so he was aware that Tipu Sultan is exchanging messages with Napoleon. So he is more close to French than being close to us. So he thought that let's complete, or cut this risk for once and all. So he had made up his mind that this time whatever comes my way, I am going to kill and only kill Tipu Sultan, nothing less than that. So first, he tried to force him to sign the subsidiary alliance, system of subsidiary alliance. So what is this subsidiary alliance? So we will study this in great detail later, but I'll give you some hint what this basically means. Suppose you are the ruler of a kingdom. Let's say kingdom A. The Britishers want to take over this territory, but they do not want to fight you. So what they will do, they will tell you, you want to fight us. You will say, no, we are too small, we don't want to fight you. Britishers know that if they will capture, the people will revolt. So what they do, they sign an agreement with the king. They tell king that allow us to keep our British soldiers in your kingdom. You pay salary to them, you give them food to eat, you give them place to live, but they are our soldiers. So if our soldiers are present in your kingdom, nobody else will attack your kingdom. So the king was happy that British soldiers are living in my kingdom. So now I am safe from my enemies. And because of presence of these soldiers, the Britishers used to be getting money as their salary, as their allowance, everything else. So it was a win-win situation for the Britishers. Without even fighting or invading that territory, they used to rule that. So this system was known as alliance. But subsidiary, that means you are subordinate. This king is subordinate to British. But Mysore did not agree to all this. Tipu Sultan said that we are not going to enter into subsidiary alliance with you British people. So get lost. So because of this, the fourth war was evident. It was clear that fourth war is going to take place. Because he refused to sign subsidiary alliance. The war began on April 17, 1799. You don't have to remember dates, but year is very important. And ended in just, you can say, you can count how many days. So 13, 14, almost like 16 days later, it ended. So with the fall of Seringapatnam. So Seringapatnam was the capital of Tipu Sultan, or you can say capital of Mysore. So Britishers this time actually entered his fort and killed Tipu Sultan there. The English were again helped by the Marathas and the Nizam. That means from second Anglo-Mysore war onwards, they have stuck with the British people. The Marathas had been promised half of the territory of the Tipu, and Nizam had already signed the subsidiary alliance. So this is the reason that why these greedy people were supporting the British. So Marathas were promised half of the territory, whereas Nizam had already signed the subsidiary alliance. So the fourth war ended when Tipu Sultan was killed. Tipu Sultan laid down his life on 4th May, and 4th May is the date on which the war ended. When the king is dead, the war ends. So Tipu Sultan died on 4th May 1799 fighting bravely. So that's why he is known as the Tiger of Mysore. He fought till his last breath. He did not surrender. He did not sign subsidiary alliance. He did not behave like these two neighbors like Marathas and Nizam. So what happened after the war? So Wodeyar and Mysorean treasures were confiscated by the English. That means immediately the money present in the treasury. Treasury means the place where the royal money is kept. So it was looted by the British. So what happened once Tipu Sultan was dead? So as you already know that Wodeyar dynasty was present in Mysore, which was replaced by Tipu Sultan's father. But now Tipu Sultan's father is also dead, Tipu Sultan is also dead. So British bring back the same dynasty again. So the English chose a boy from the earlier Hindu royal family of Mysore, so which Wodeyar dynasty as the Maharaja, and also imposed on him the subsidiary alliance system in 1799. That means Tipu Sultan is gone, so now they again bring back the Wodeyars on throne, and this time they say that we are making you king. All you have to do is that you have to sign the subsidiary alliance system. So what Tipu was not agreeing to, these new king agreed to. So the new state of Mysore was handed over to the Wodeyars. The new king was Krishna Raja III. His grandfather was Krishna Raja Wodeyar, from whom Hyder Ali has snatched power. Now his grandson has got back the throne and he accepted the subsidiary alliance. In 1831, William Bentinck took control of Mysore and on grounds of misgovernance. That means he removed king system, the system of Wodeyar kings, and he took total control of Mysore. So in 1831, William Bentinck, the first Governor General of entire India, not only Bengal. But in 1881, that means after 50 years, Lord Ripon restored the kingdom to its ruler. Lord Ripon was a very kind-hearted person. You will see about him later on. So this way Mysore for 50 years remained in total control of British, but again in 1881 it was given back to the kings. So this is the brief history of British conquest of Mysore. Hope you like this video.